Good morning, Leo. This is your astrology for what I believe is to be Activation Day. This would be January 9th, 2021. All the personal planets, Mercury, Mars, Venus, and actually the moon at the same time, even though it's not a planet, will be at 1 or over 1 degrees. This is an alignment we don't see very often. When the personal planets are in alignment like this, there is activations happening in our personal superpowers. And I'm not talking about the generational stuff you were granted with from your experience through previous lives and your family and your ancestors. This isn't that. This is the personal planets, okay, Leo? This is the stuff you've learned in this lifetime. The personal planets move around the sun a lot faster than the generational planets. And the one major reason that this is because they are a lot closer to the sun. And astrologers have always noted that the way that the personal planets affect humans in transit and in birth charts and astrology in general is through attitude, is through the actions and the attitude and the predispositions. And I'm not talking about ancestral predispositions. I mean your specific taste and what you've acquired as your specific taste over your lifetime. So your Mercury and your planets, theoretically, these all activate within the first year that you're alive. Okay, so every time the sun moves along that first year of your life, every time it hits one of the personal planets, it activates it and wakes it up. So this is to say that the first year of your life, you're still learning your personal planets, which makes perfect sense, right? Because you're just a little sponge when you're a baby. But during a time like this, when all the planets that are personalized, that are small and fast moving, come into a place where they're all connecting to each other. This isn't just about our own personal personality. This is about a society personality. Not generational, because this is quite fast moving. And yes, it doesn't happen that often, but it does happen. But when it happens, it activates everyone at the same time. So I found this in my ephemeris and I was like, I gotta see this chart. So I pulled it and I said, okay, I need to do more than just talk about this day. This is a big day for each of the signs. And so now I'm onto your sign, Leo. Stop it. My bird gets a little out of hand. Okay, so Leo, this is a big one for you. Like I said before, all the personal planets are at like 1 degrees, but when I pulled that chart, I decided to look at the asteroids as well. And the little personal touches that the asteroids put on charts are absolutely amazing and mind-blowing every single time. So I decided to pull the other asteroids that were sitting at around the same degree, so like 10 degrees. When I did this, I got a list of names, okay? A list of asteroids that are also in these very specific first degrees of the sign. It created a beautiful chart. Some of the famous names involved are Lilith. She's right up there with Saturn and Jupiter. Excuse me. So my bird is, I think my bird might be a Leo. So she's right up there making sure that there is a new chaotic autonomous way of being in this new, era of Aquarius. It's not the age, but it is the era. I might have to turn this bird like in another room. I don't know. Okay, so what else we have here is that the other asteroids that are involved, one of them is Karma. Another one is Atropos. Another one is Vulcan. Another one is Adamant. Another one is Zion. Okay? A few of these asteroids, Sisyphus, Atropos, Adamant, these are asteroids that talk about fate. The ending of life and the choices that we make that stick us to fate, whether they be good or bad, because there are both archetypes in this. However, love is definitely going to talk everything. There is going to be a lot of conversations in your mind and in your general vicinity, Leo, that have to do with the choices that you've made based on the karma that you felt and the the commitment that you feel currently to your choices. So two of the biggest things that are happening in this chart are smaller in the eyes of general astrology. Okay, I had to dig for these ones, but Vulcan and Atropos. These two are together. Vulcan's a very slow-moving planetary figure. Atropos is not so slow. It's an asteroid. They're both together in the first degrees of Leo. This has a big deal to do with your particular sign. So I want to go into some things. So I'm going to read you a bit about Atropos, because this is honestly like the story that popped up when I pulled up all these asteroids and I looked up all their different stories and I saw that they really weren't that different. Okay, Atropos is the inflexible. This is the goddess. Sorry, she is one of the three fates. She's one of the three fates. Okay, and in her fated choice, like what she chooses, what she does is she decides how long the life is. Okay, so there's Clotho, who decides what kind of life it is. There's Leches, which decides what kind of fabric the life is. And then there's there's Laches, which sews it together. And then there's the Atropos. She is the unalterable, the inflexible. She decides. She, who is sitting in your first house, this goddess who is activating this activation energy, is sitting in your first house, deciding what is happening, what's continuing and what's ending right now. That is you. And on top of that, she's not alone. Oh no, she's with Vulcus. Okay, so Vulcus, insane, slow-moving planet. I'm just loading it up here. I should have had this already. Sorry about that. Vulcus is the god of fire, one of the oldest gods of fire known, and literally the passion and fury that we see with Aries, that we see with Pluto, that we see with Hades, all of these furious energies originated in this kind of god of the flame. So those two are together in the first decan. Okay, this is a big deal because opposite Leo, you have Venus, you have Lilith, you have Saturn and Jupiter all coming together in Aquarius. This is your 7th house, okay? So now, Leo, you really are deciding what parts of you and your desires are going to fit with the longevity of the choices you're making in your partnering elements. This is partners at work, partners in relationships, partners in business, partners in family, anyone that you deal with on a one-on-one basis that you build your life with. Any of those people are going to be going through trial and error over the next 3 years, okay? Because Saturn is coming through your 7th house with Jupiter, Mercury, and Lilith, meaning you just got this big boost of commitment energy. You feel like, okay, you know what? I'm ready to partner. I love who I am, and I'm ready to find love in other people, or I have found love in other people that fits that. You're getting excited about it. It's moving very quickly, but it's happening, and there's an autonomous energy to this. Almost like I'm doing this for my own sake energy. You know, I'm loving them for me. That's Lilith sitting with Jupiter, okay? Because as much as Jupiter is like generous and likes to love everybody, Lilith does everything for herself. Because she's the first feminine energy that ever took care of itself without any help. Admit. This isn't over. Okay, so there is one more asteroid that's involved. I'm just going to pull up his name. His name is Amidos. Okay? Amidos. Oh, so beautiful. Amidos is sitting in your... Hold on, let me pull this up again. Amidos is sitting at the end of your 7th house. Okay? So at the beginning of your 7th house, we have the Father Karma. We have the autonomous Lilith. We have the generous Jupiter. And we have the conceptualizing Mercury, all coming in with a lot of heart and a lot of happiness and a lot of excitement. Even Saturn coming with Jupiter is like easy on the restraints. You know what I mean? Like it's like where Saturn in your 7th house is like you like to be restrained from your partner, you like to be make things build very slowly and very concretely. When Saturn's there with Jupiter, you're building very concretely, but you're doing it very quickly, and you're going very far. The planet's very large. You're going to get a lot done in a very small amount of time in the next year. Jupiter will eventually leave Saturn. And while this opening is happening, having Amidus, the asteroid Amidus at the end of your 7th house, literally trining the moon, and only the moon, okay, for this activation, like I said, Amidus in your 7th house is waking up your 7th house. Amidus, amazing, okay, so Amidus is, it's actually considered a modern ruler of Taurus. Some astrologers, Uranian astrologers, which are people who do like far off, I should say far off, but very theoretical astrology about the larger outer body planets. So let's just look at Amidus a little bit. So Amidus in Greek mythology was a benevolent ruler presiding over all of those in need. Even Apollo was sheltered by him once, which is the sun itself. As Amidus grew old and nearing his death, Apollo delivered a message that he could avert his death if someone was too willing to take his place, but no one wanted to. But no one comes to the fore, and his wife and mother of 2 children ends up being sacrificed. Okay, Amidus was despondent over his wife's demise and vows he will never take another woman. He remains solemn for a long period of time through temptation after temptation. Even when Hercules brings him a veiled woman as a gift, he ignores her. However, Hercules removes the veil and he recognizes that it's actually his wife returned to him from Hades. Amidus remains steadfast, welcoming his guests but not showing her emotion. You see, there was actually a profound depth to his feelings, but he couldn't reveal them due to the chronic, deep depression that presided over their release. Heavy story, much like the planet, the effects of Amidus arise from all that is weighty, literally and figuratively. Whatever it touches, it brings into depth and can make great transformative power and a stabilizing effect, but it can also block whatever it touches and creates obstacles in the inertia. All right, so that is a bit about Amidus. That's from the UranianAstrologer.com. So having this activated in your 7th house, really, especially with this beginning of the 7th house being so new and having all of these new promises and all of this new foundation that you're bringing in with Saturn coming in here as, you know, the natural ruler of your 7th house, now having Amidus here really makes this a concrete choice. There are definitely serious endeavors, and as much as it has that fun, flirty energy because Jupiter's in your 7th house, there is a very deep, serious commitment that is happening for you here. And overall, it's a commitment to do what is right. Not just for you or for somebody else, but the real right. You know, what feels morally right, and following that, even when it sucks. And being rewarded for it afterwards. There's a lot of beautiful stuff happening in your 7th house, Leo. I'm personally, my partner's a Leo, so I'm very happy to say that. Okay, so I'm just going to go over the chart a little bit more for you guys. Let's see here. So the moon is actually trining anything at the beginning of any of the fire signs. So Aries and Leo will be getting this big boost of fiery energy from the moon in Sagittarius. So that also means Jupiter's working for you as well. So I want you to look to your Jupiter while you're in this moon. Look to your Jupiter in your natal chart to tell you where you should be getting an influx of energy. Because your Jupiter and your Saturn are really going to take effect right now. Especially over the next 2 years with Saturn being the ruler of your 7th house and Saturn moving through your 7th house, you're really going to feel the concrete perception that you want in the world. You're going to feel like you're actually being respected for the serious position that you take when it comes to respecting and seeing eye to eye with other people. Like it's not silly business anymore. Now your time is really coming to activate that part of yourself because you have the ability to help people raise themselves to a higher vibration, a more accountable, autonomous vibration. You really do, Leo. I mean, you don't have that king star in your chart for no reason. You are here to be, a positive ruler, if you want to be. What else, Leo? I will say karma's in your second house on the king star. This is making that grand trine to Venus, which if you have any placements in Taurus, Leo, this is going to be a little bit hard. There might be some triggers set. It could be like a sexual trigger, like get turned on, but very much I feel like this transit is going to have a shock value on your day-to-day life to a point where you're like, whoa, I have to switch my situation? What do you mean? You may find that your work gets a little bit of a shock. I'm not going to cast any negative light here, but there will be a true focus on one-on-one partnership at work for the rest of the year, easily. The way that you deal with people one-on-one and how you manage to bring that to the workforce, that's really your strong suit right now. Because you're able to separate yourself. With Taurus being in, with Uranus being in Taurus, which is your 10th house, there has been a lot of shocking elements to the stability of how you normally work. You've no doubt probably had to change jobs, maybe even been demoted or shifted positions completely. You may have just quit. Either way, it's been about a year now. And, it's been 2 years this February since Uranus moved into Taurus, into your 10th house, that your job sector would have been very confusing. And with Mars now entering the scene, I think you'll feel more compelled to make up and stabilize that energy, or at least use the instability to your advantage. Anyways, that's it for now. My little one's just coming, so I hope that was a good reading for you, Leo. Little over, about 17 minutes. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and follow me on astrobree.com, Astrobree Astrology. Talk to you soon.